I found this carved wooden object while going through my grandfather's things. It's about the size of a small baton and has decorative grooves carved into one end. Does anyone know what this might have been used for? What you found is a wooden billy club or truncheon, likely handcrafted and possibly used as a personal defense item. These short, weighted sticks were regularly carried by police officers in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, but handmade or ornamental versions were also kept in homes, particularly in rural areas for protection or emergencies. The turned grooves along the shaft provide a more secure grip, while the flared end helps prevent it from slipping out of the hand during use. I picked this up at a thrift store. The yellow spoke wheel spins and it's really fascinating to watch. It feels like it might have some kind of purpose, but I'm not sure what it is. It's made of metal or some kind of alloy. Does anyone know what this might be? What you found is a gyroscope toy, a classic educational device used to demonstrate the principles of angular momentum and rotational stability. To operate it, you thread a string through the hole in the central axle, wind it up and give it a sharp pull. The spinning motion causes the wheel to maintain its orientation, allowing it to balance on a narrow point like the edge of a glass or the tip of a pencil. Gyroscopes aren't just toys, they've played a significant role in navigation and aerospace engineering. Real gyroscopes are used in aircraft, submarines, and spacecraft to maintain orientation without relying on GPS or external reference points. The International Space Station, for example, uses large gyroscopes to help control its position in orbit. I found this six-sided copper-lined box in an antique store. The seller said it was a sewing box, but I haven't been able to find anything that matches it online. Does anyone know what this is? What you found is a copper-lined cigar humidor cabinet, designed to keep cigars fresh by maintaining stable humidity levels. The copper interior helps regulate moisture and prevents the cigars from drying out or becoming too damp, which can ruin their flavor and quality. This type of humidor, known as a cabinet humidor, was typically used as a freestanding piece of furniture and was popular in the late 19th and early 20th centuries when cigar smoking was widespread. Unlike smaller desktop humidors, cabinet models like this could store a larger number of cigars and were commonly found in gentlemen's parlors, studies, or smoking rooms. Dear viewers, if you enjoy our videos, please subscribe to the channel and give this one a thumbs up. It influences the YouTube algorithm and the video gets promoted more effectively. Thank you. I saw this long pole with a corkscrew-shaped tip in a museum in Montenegro. It was displayed alongside antique guns, so I thought it might be an old weapon, but it doesn't look practical for combat. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a type of artillery tool known as a worm. Despite its intimidating appearance, it wasn't a weapon. It was a vital part of the maintenance equipment for muzzle-loading cannons. The corkscrew-shaped iron tip was designed to reach into the barrel and remove remnants of cloth powder bags or other debris left behind after a shot. If these weren't cleared properly, they could ignite and trigger a dangerous premature explosion during the next loading. The worm was usually mounted on a long wooden pole, like the one you saw and was commonly stored on the artillery carriage or attached to the end of the sponge staff. Tools like this were widely used in European and American artillery from the 17th to the 19th century. I found this sturdy ceramic mug with a lid at my grandparents' house. The lid seems a little unusual and doesn't quite fit like a regular cup cover. Does anyone know what this might be used for? What you found is a butter bell, also known as a French butter dish. This clever container is designed to keep butter fresh and spreadable without refrigeration. It consists of two parts, a base that holds a small amount of water and a bell-shaped lid that holds the butter. To use it, softened butter is packed into the lid, which is then inverted into the base filled with water. The water forms an airtight seal that keeps oxygen out, helping prevent the butter from spoiling. As long as the water is changed regularly and the temperature stays below 80 degrees Fahrenheit, the butter can remain fresh and spreadable for up to a month. I found this brass container at a thrift store in California. It has ornate punch designs in the metal, a handle on top, and a latch with a hole for a lock. There are no markings on it. Does anyone know what this might be? What you found is likely a pondon, a traditional container used in India and nearby regions to store ingredients for preparing pan. Pan is a cultural after-meal chew made from a betel leaf filled with chopped areca nut, slaked lime paste, and a variety of flavorings or spices. It's chewed for its stimulating effect and refreshing taste. The pan dan is typically made of brass or silver and features intricate punched or engraved designs, much like the one you found. It usually includes a latch and a handle, as it was intended to be both portable and secure. Inside, it may have held several small compartments or containers to keep each ingredient separate. These containers were widely used in South Asia during the 19th and early 20th centuries and are still found in traditional households and ceremonial settings today. I found this antique wooden stand with 2 folding panels held up by chains. It looks decorative, but I can't figure out what it was used for. Does anyone know what this might be? What you found is an antique gentleman's trouser press, a piece of furniture once used to smooth wrinkles from suit pants without using heat. These were especially popular in the late 19th and early 20th centuries among well-dressed men who traveled or stayed in formal households. The 2 folding panels held by chains would clamp down on a pair of trousers, laid across the flat wooden board, applying gentle but firm pressure overnight. The idea was to press the pants without damaging delicate fabrics or leaving a shine from a hot iron. The hooks or finials at the top were commonly used to hang a suit jacket or shirt, making it a compact, all-in-one valet stand. These presses were typically placed in bedrooms or dressing rooms, and were considered part of a refined daily routine. I found this wooden tool with a heavy rubber-coated head and a tapered handle. It looks like a club or mallet and seems quite dense. I bought it at an estate sale, but no one knew what it was used for. Does anyone recognize it? What you found is a wood carving mallet, the kind used to strike chisels in detailed woodworking or sculpting. Unlike traditional hammers, carving mallets are made with a broad cylindrical head, typically weighted with metal and covered in rubber, to deliver steady, even pressure without damaging the chisel or straining the user's hand. The tapered wooden handle gives a comfortable grip and allows for precise control during use. The rubber coating on the head helps absorb shock and improves handling when working with delicate tools. These mallets are preferred by skilled woodworkers and carvers for their balance, weight, and smooth impact, without the jarring rebound you get from metal hammers. I found this heavy brass object in a kitchen drawer. It has strange markings like ALCO, a rotating ring with numbers and some holes on the top. It looks like part of a larger mechanical device. What is this, and what was it used for? What you found is a World War I era artillery time fuse, specifically the nose fuse from a timed explosive shell. These brass components were designed to be screwed into the tip of a shell and control exactly when it would detonate, either after a set time or upon impact. The graduated rings with numbers around the body form part of the adjustable timing mechanism. By rotating the ring to a specific setting, artillery crews could set how many seconds after launch the shell would explode. Markings such as ALCO Lot 617 indicate the manufacturer and production batch. ALCO, short for the American Locomotive Company, was one of several companies that produced military ordnance during the early 20th century. The small holes near the top were part of the ignition system. As the shell was fired, the propellant's flame would enter these holes, initiating the timed delay. Once the internal mechanism reached the end of its countdown, it would trigger the detonation of the shell's main explosive charge. I found this strange sand-like object in shallow water along the coast of the Red Sea in Egypt. It looks like a spiral with a hole in the center, feels fragile, and crumbles easily. It doesn't seem to be alive, but I've never seen anything like it before. Does anyone know what it might be? What you found is called a sand collar, a fascinating structure created by female moon snails when they lay their eggs. The name comes from its resemblance to a ruffled, detachable shirt collar. These collars are made by mixing sand with mucus, forming a flexible, spiraled ring. The snail uses her foot to gather sand and shape the collar while depositing thousands of eggs between 2 layers of the sand mucus mixture. The hole in the center shows where the snail's body was during the process. If the collar is still intact, it might still contain developing embryos. After the eggs hatch, the structure breaks apart, releasing the larvae into the ocean. I picked up this small silver oblong tool at an estate sale. It's around 3 inches long, has an ornate design, and the word "Gjørsilver" engraved on it. There's a bit of thread still looped inside. What is this used for? What you found is a tatting shuttle, a traditional tool used in the craft of lace making. Tatting is a method for creating durable lace by forming knots and loops, and the shuttle helps guide the thread as these patterns take shape. This particular shuttle is an antique, likely made from German silver, a nickel alloy known for its silver-like appearance and features detailed engraving that reflects both function and artistry. The shuttle holds a length of wound thread on a central spool, and is passed through loops to form what are called double stitches, which create rings and chains. These lace patterns were commonly used to embellish collars, cuffs, handkerchiefs, doilies, and other accessories. The design of your shuttle, with its compact size, pointed ends, and inner post, is characteristic of shuttles made in the late 19th to early 20th centuries, a period when handmade lace was still highly regarded in fashion and interior decoration. I found this small metal object among my grandmother's belongings. It's about the size of a nail, slightly curved on one side, with some decorative patterns near the top. There's no writing on it, and it seems solid. Does anyone know what this was used for? What you found is a decorative hairpin, most likely used as part of a traditional hair accessory or ornamental hair clip. Its tapered shape, flattened profile, and detailed pattern near the top suggest it was designed not only to secure hair but also to serve as an embellishment. These kinds of metal hairpins were commonly made from silver or silver-plated alloys and were popular in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. They were favored in many regions, including parts of Europe and South Asia, and were typically inserted into buns or updos, either as functional fasteners or purely decorative accents. I picked up these 2 silver-colored items at an auction in Southern Virginia. They fit in the palm of my hand and are both hollow. On one side, there appears to be the emblem of Brazil. Does anyone know what they are? What you've got here is a pair of Passador de Louro. These are decorative saddle fittings that were traditionally used in Brazil and in other Portuguese-speaking countries. They're metal pieces that slide over the leather straps, called louros, which are the straps that connect to a horse's stirrups. They serve both a practical and decorative purpose. They help keep the stirrup leathers in place, and at the same time, they show off regional or national identity. The designs on your pieces are especially interesting because they feature 2 important Brazilian emblems. On one side, you can see the national coat of arms of Brazil, along with the date November 15th, 1889. That's the date Brazil became a republic. On the other side, you've got the emblem of the República Rio Grandense, which was a short-lived separatist state that existed from 1836 to 1845 in southern Brazil. It also includes the motto Humanidade, Liberdade, Igualdade, which in English means humanity, liberty, equality, reflecting the republican ideals of that movement. These fittings are usually made from a silver-colored alloy called alpaca, also known as German silver, and they were especially popular among gauchos, the South American cowboys during the late 1800s and early 1900s. In the last video, I asked you to identify this solid piece of glass with a plated copper cap. It's actually a broken-off piece of a glass towel rail from around the 1920s. I really appreciate everyone who shared their guesses in the comments. It helps the video reach more people and helps the channel grow. Now I want to invite you to identify another unusual object. This is a round brass item with removable pins. What do you think it's used for? Leave your guesses in the comments and I'll reveal the answer in the next video. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you found it interesting. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm and lets more people discover the channel. Thanks again, and see you next time.